What's up, guys? YGO Strats coming at you with a side decking video. I will be doing a video later on about more how to side deck than what to side deck. This is just a general purpose side deck cards video. So all of these cards can be put into most any side deck as viable options. They're all really splashable. They're all pretty staple in some form or another depending on what you're playing and what you're playing against. I'm not going to be going into the specifics of, Ojama Trio for Burning Abyss or Lancia for Nekroz, that sort of thing. Might make videos later on about how to side for specific matches or decks and whatnot, but for this one it's just going to be general purpose cards, and I've broken it down into 8 main categories. You've got the disruption cards like Stygian Dirge, Effect Negation, Spell and Trap Destruction, the helping yourself, I like to call it cards, Max C, Triceratops, and just general purpose side cards more than anything. Search Negation, Light and Dark Hate, Banishing, and Don't Let Your Opponent Play Yu-Gi-Oh! Those are the 8 key categories, so without any more delaying, we're going to get right into it. For General Disruption, there's a few great cards that you can use. Stygian Dirge is always a good one. It stops synchro plays and it stops exceed plays more or less. Anything like rank 4 spam does not like Stygian Dirge because Stygian Dirge makes all your opponent's monsters level load by 1. So 4s become 3s, 2 become 1, 1 stays 1, all that sort of thing. Really disrupts your extra deck plays, bar fusions, and it's just a great thing to have. Another good card is Flying Sea. It stops exceed playing overall in rank 4 spam decks. This can mean no plays, and in any deck that has access to it, it can shut down some great combos and outs like Castel. Other good cards include Chain Disappearance and Chain Destruction for banishing or destroying of cards and getting rid of them from the deck. This can really shut stuff down. Bujin Yamato falls to this one, and anything 1,000 or less attack can fall right to this one. Another good all-purpose card is Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, which can just be used to bounce anything as well as stack it on top of the deck if it's an effect monster or something. So you can make it so that they top deck into the card you just got rid of, which might not be able to advance their game state in any way. Just good things to think about. For banishing cards, Macrocosmos and Dimensional Fissure are by far the 2 best ones. If you're playing against a deck that needs its graveyard and you're using a deck that doesn't, this can be incredibly destructive for your opponent. Any deck that uses its graveyard does not like either of these cards because it will shut down combos, and just in general is just a nightmare to deal with. Other things to think about if you're looking for a macro on legs, Banisher of the Radiance is just that. Any card that would be sent to the grave is banished instead. If you're looking for targeted removal, DD Crow can be used to chain to something, call the Haunted, chain DD Crow, banish their target, call the Haunted, fizzles, that sort of thing. And 2 other mentionable cards for banishing. Dimensional Prison is probably more of a main deck one, but it could be something to think about if you're on a budget. And Kaiku's a classic one that hasn't seen play much as of late, but it's still a solid card. A level 4, and when it inflicts damage to your opponent, you can banish 2 monsters from the graveyard. It has 1800 attack, so it's not bad, and level 4 opens up rank 4 plays. So just good cards to think about in general. For other things, you've got your Light and Dark Hate, namely Light Imprisoning Mirror and Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. Both fantastic cards. Light and Dark are by far the 2 most powerful attributes in the game, and so having these cards negates their effects on the field and in the graveyard, so it'll shut down a lot of decks. Burning the Abyss doesn't care too much about it because Firelay can get rid of Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, but in general, if you're facing a dark deck like Shadow Imprisoning Mirror can be the end-all to it, and Light Sworn, stuff like that. Cosmo really hate Light Imprisoning Mirror. Also, worthy of note, Chaos Trap Hole negates the summon of a light or dark monster and banishes it, so that can be real death for something like Shadow Construct, or pretty much anything. No deck likes to have their stuff banished right away, because even the decks that don't mind it typically don't get anything off having it banished right from Jump Street, so solid cards to think about. Searching is always prominent in the meta, and as such, stopping searching is always prominent in the meta as well. So side decking, great card is Mistake. You see this a lot against Nekroz, Cleaford, that sort of thing. Decks that search like crazy. It'll be great against Magispectors, and Pendulum Call won't like it when you're playing Pendulum Magicians. Really all it is no searching except from your deck to your hand except by drawing. If you're looking for it on legs, Thunder King on Ryo is the exact same effect, but it also comes with the effect that you contribute it to negate an inherent summon, which is always good. Other cards to hate on searching, Mind Crush, just call whatever they searched, call its name, and they got rid of it. So that can be really devastating. And then 2 other power cards are Shared Ride and Mistaken Arrest. Shared Ride is really only good against certain matchups like Nekroz because they search like crazy. It's pretty much max C for searching. Every time they search, you draw a card. So they can continue to do their stuff, but it's going to come at a cost of getting you a bunch of advantage too, so it typically makes them stop. And then Mistaken Arrest is kind of a mistake for players who also want to search. So do all your searching, do all your shenanigans, set this card, and then on their turn when they try and search chain, mistake and rest, they can't search anything. You won't be able to search on your next turn either, but the fact of the matter is you got all your Wombo Combo stuff done with your searches, they don't get theirs. My all-purpose siding, as I like to call it, because I don't really have a name for these types of cards. Max Z is definitely the biggest one. If you're not maining it, it's one of the big three of side decks, as I call them, alongside Effect Veiler and MST, where if you're not sure what to put in your side deck, they're just great options. Max Z is the shared ride of special summoning, so every time they special summon, you draw a card. So if they go off and summon a bunch of stuff, it can mean death to them because you'll just get so many resources off the special summons. So definitely a great card, and you know, free drawing is just amazing for discarding one card. Triceratops, or Dino Buddy as I'm going to call him because I don't want to pronounce his name. Basically, when your opponent special summons 3 or more times, you can just drop him in defense mode and he's unaffected by all other card effects. No Regeki, no Construct, no none of that. So unless they have something with stronger than 28 defense, which is surprisingly not too common, it can mean safety for one turn. Definitely a good thing to think about because there's pretty much every deck that's competitive can special summon more than 3 times per turn. Other cards to think about, Grand Mole is an old one. It's not doing much of anything, but if you're super cheap, you know, it's not a bad option. Anything it battles, both get bounced, so it's an option to think about. And other things, Lava Golem or something along the lines of Volcanic Queen. Tribute their monsters to summon this guy and then get rid of it through your own means. But basically it gets rid of, you know, their towers, their construct, whatever it is, and lets you do other things because typically you can have some sort of out to just a 3000 beat stick. For Spell and Trap Hate, we've got MST is, like I said, part of the big 3 for me. If you're already maxed out on MST and you want to side more Spell and Trap Hate, the 3 big ones are Twister, Fairy Wind, and Dust Tornado. Twister only gets face-up Spell and Trap, same with Fairy Wind. Twister pay 500 life points to do it. It's a quick play though, so it can have its benefits. Fairy Wind destroys all face-up Spell and Trap, so it's a godsend against pendulums, and Dust Tornado is just a bit of a slower MST. It's when you set, but it also lets you set a trap card right afterwards, so if you activate Dust Tornado, you can set Fairy Wind right away. That's pretty much all there is for the direct Spell and Trap Hate and Destruction. In terms of screwing over your opponent, Anti-Spell Fragrance is one that's going to see a lot of play as pendulums become more and more popular, just because they can't set the pendulum spell, and if they can't set it, they can't activate it, so they don't get their pendulum, which just shuts down the deck generally. So this is definitely a staple and will be a staple for a long while because pendulums will always exist from now on. And then in terms of Trap Hate, Trap Stun, or Royal Decree, if you're looking for Royal Decree on legs, it's Jinzo, but it is a tribute, so you have to kind of merit whether or not that's worth it. And then finally, if you really want to stop their traps, Wiretap negates it and shuffles it into the deck so they don't get to use it. In terms of effect negation, a great card is Effect Veiler. It is always going to be good. It is, again, part of the big 3. So you just drop Effect Veiler on their main phase and it stops whatever it is they're doing. It is a hand trap, so it's typically safe from other things about trap stuns or any other negating, because the other big negation effect cards are Fiendish Chain and Breakthrough Skill. So Effect Veiler is definitely a good one in that sense. The other 2 negate effect cards I've got right here are Debunk and Divine Wrath. Divine Wrath negates cards on the field, and Debunk negates card effects on the grave. And by card, I do mean monster. They only negate monster effects. So if you're facing something that uses a lot of graveyard effects like Burning Abyss or Shadow, Debunk is not too bad. And if you're facing something that just activates effects on the field, which is pretty much anything, Divine Wrath is also a good choice. Divine Wrath does have a discard cost, so it can be more costly, but it is a counter trap, so generally whatever you destroy, they're not going to be able to save it. And for the last bit of side decking cards, the You Can't Play Yu-Gi-Oh! First up is Vanities. Vanities is fantastic. Your opponent can't special summon and you can't special summon. It is susceptible because if they MST anything else, it goes with it. The target, anytime your card is sent from your field or deck to the grave, this card destroys itself. But the fact of the matter is the ability to gather a huge board, flip this, and then win the game, it is a thing, it's a threat, it's still a threat. Well, it's at 1, it was a nightmare when it was at 3, and if you're not main decking it, it is a great side deck choice. Other cards are, well, if you're looking for Vanities on legs, Dino, Fossil Dyna is pretty much Vanities on legs. He's very soft, 1200 attack, 13 defense, but Vanity on legs, so you never know when that might come in handy. And then 2 other great cards would be Mind Drain and Soul Drain. Mind Drain negates card effects that activate in the hand, like Nekroz cards or Honest, and Soul Drain negates card effects that activate in the graveyard or when they're banished. So depending on what you're facing, this can be great. Soul Drain is kind of like Abyss Dweller in trap card form, or Abyss Dweller is kind of like Soul Drain on legs. The difference is Soul Drain stops banished card effects too. That's mainly relevant against stuff like E-Drags, and I know they're banned at the time of this video, but you never know. That pretty much wraps that up. I realized it was quick. I did a friggin' in-depth version of all these and it took 40 minutes, and I don't think anyone wants to watch that, so I'm not gonna upload those ones. There it is, a real quick one. Like I said, I might make some more in-depth versions where I go and talk about the great cards against Burning Abyss, how to side against Qliphort, and do that for every format, because the side deck is ultimately pertained to what you feel is a threat and where you're going to face it. Like if you know your locals is filled with Yang Zings, Goes and Match is a fantastic card to side deck against Yang Zings, but other than that, it's not too great of a side deck card, so it's not talked about in this video. But yeah, that pretty much wraps things up. Thank you guys for watching. Go ahead, leave a comment, tell me what you think you'd have done differently, what cards you feel are definitely side deck staples that are splashable that I might have missed, and what cards, I put in here that are just not usable at all and I'm an idiot for including them, that sort of thing. Don't let your cat in your room while you are filming. Oh my god, I keep saying it and he keeps just fucking bursting in here, so I apologize for any meowing you'll hear in the background, but yeah, there he is, my cat, you idiot, get out of the camera. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time on YGO Strats.